Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We've got a great webinar set up for you all called Optimize Your Online Presence with Google Business Training and IKE Digital Kiosks. In order to provide this as a resource to storefronts in the future, we are recording today's webinar. So everybody will get my blooper that I just said there. Today we'll be hearing from two experts on how to best equip your businesses to be optimized for the new IKE kiosks in downtown Raleigh through your Google business listing. We will have time for questions and answers at the end of the session, so please put any questions in the chat or in the question and answer function on Zoom. Today we have Kara Schneider, who is the development manager for IKE Smart City. Kara helped to manage the deployment of 16 total kiosks in downtown Raleigh market and works to support operational expansion across the nation with additional IKE deployments. Kara has worked for Orange Barrel Media since 2023. We also have Tierra Norwood, who serves as the Chief Innovation and President of Asian Professional Solutions. Tierra works to support the small business community through providing technical services to empower entrepreneurs with comprehensive business training, expert consulting, and effective marketing strategies and services. Asian Professional Solutions was recognized as a Small Business of the Year in 2023 by the Moving Forward with Purpose Conference. All right, so without further ado, we're going to have Kara kick things off for us.
All right, well, thank you, Mary. So like Mary mentioned, I'm Kara Schneider. I'm the development manager, or one of the development managers at IKE Smart City. I work closely with the Downtown Raleigh Alliance, not only the construction and installation of the kiosks in downtown Raleigh, but also on the content and the upkeep of them as well. So today I'll be sharing an overview of what IKE Smart City is and how our kiosks help promote businesses like yours. And then I'll also share a little bit more just about the general functionality and operation as well. So, when you go out there and see them next time, you'll have a little bit better understanding. So with that, let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. Okie doke. Let's see. Perfect. Okay, so our company, IKE Smart City, pioneers in smart technology to improve lives in cities through dual-sided interactive digital kiosks that provide a public benefit to visitors and locals via wayfinding capabilities and those hyperlocal business directories. We were formed, I should say, by our near 20-year-old media company, Orange Barrel Media, that was first launched in 2015 as an initiative in Denver that would replace static wayfinding. Since the IKEs are cost effective and being revenue positive, efficiently maintained, and further compel visitors and locals to interact with their environment. Our team is plugged into all phases of the kiosk development and operation. So from project management to design, software development, construction and installation, and then advertising sales with our in-house sales team. Additionally, we have a deep understanding of working with cities in the public right of way. For instance, with over 100 kiosks in cities like Miami, Houston, and Atlanta, we really have the experience in large-scale programs and know how to make sure we build and maintain these to the highest standards for our city partners. So one of the primary benefits, as I've mentioned so far, is that our kiosks bring to cities, is that they allow users to discover where to eat, shop, play, stay around them, obtain directions via wayfinding capabilities, and ensure that there is public benefit through social equity applications. We are currently live in 21 cities and have been awarded 4 more. This is just a map kind of showcasing where we are currently, and then where also we've been awarded. So kind of going into the operation of the kiosk, there are 2 modes of operation. One is considered passive mode, which is the default mode of operation. So when not in use, the entire screen is occupied by a portrait layout displaying 8 flips, 7 of 8 which are commercial, 1 of which is dedicated to the Downtown Raleigh Alliance for art and civic content. However, once a user actually taps on the kiosk, the ad then resizes to the top third of the screen and allows for the individual access to the dashboard of applications. So you can kind of see that here with the 2 different images on the slide. So within the interactive suite of applications, our apps are categorized into 3 main groups. We have discovery, mobility, and social equity. And here on the slide, you can see some of the primary applications that fall within each of those buckets. So the first category that I wanted to touch on here is discovery, which is where listings such as your businesses fall into. So within our suite of applications, users can find, like I said, places to eat, shop, and stay, and more. Meanwhile, when the user, were to click on, for example, eat and drink or activities, and they have a business in which they have a particular interest, they can actually tap on that specific business and they can see address, hours of operation, descriptions, and photos, which can also be sent directly to the user's phone via a QR code or even just send details button that you can see here. These listings are proximity-based. So they're proximity-based within a 2-mile radius from the kiosk, and paid placement is not allowed. So unlike when searching on Google for, let's say, coffee near me, and Starbucks, let's say, being the first one to appear, these kiosks are focused specifically on what is around the kiosk and local businesses. Additionally, the directory pulls from Google Places API. So if a business is listed under Google Businesses, it will populate on the kiosk and will pull in any information that is shared there. And then Tierra will be sharing more specifically about, Google Business and best practices in our session today. But that's essentially the connection to how, the business information makes it on to our kiosks. However, to provide you with some more information on our kiosks as a whole, I also wanted to touch on another application category, which is mobility and our wayfinding application. So our partnership with Transit allows the platform to have mobility options aggregated into one place. It also allows the user to plan a trip with real-time data, such as arrival, departure, and location, and receive step-by-step navigation. And again, all of this information can be sent to the individual's phone. Another piece our kiosks also feature is customizable city content, such as dedication applications, which open up into what we like to call a poster application that can feature a city's initiative or objectives and a seasonal event. And then within the apps, specifically the event application, we can source directly from a calendar managed by the city, or for example, the Downtown Raleigh Alliance, to show hyperlocal events that the user can also receive that information to their phone. Additionally, one of our most loved applications is the photo booth application, where users can take fun pictures and use custom, frames that we work on with the Downtown Raleigh Alliance, or even stickers for a more branded experience. And I should note that when it comes to any time that a user is sending this information to their phone, or even taking a photo, we do not store any, personally identifiable information. And once those things are transmitted, it is wiped from the kiosk. So that is not stored as well. Several other applications also fall into our social equity category, specifically our social services, safe shelter, job board, and civic resources, which really serve some of the most underserved individuals looking for, places to safe shelter, different, banks, charitable organizations, family services, and even showcasing a job board, for instance, for those looking for a job. To provide a little more context on the actual structure of the kiosk, so they are roughly 3 feet wide and about 8 feet tall, and they were also very weather resistant, and we also provide ongoing innovations to make sure that we are providing the utmost state-of-the-art technology. But you can see here, we are corrosion resistant, dust and water resistant, we have shatterproof tempered glass. They can operate in some of the most extreme temperatures and humidity. And also, withstand some, hurricane force winds, even some, intense direct sunlight. And so we just wanted to share a little bit more information on how these structures are equipped. Which actually goes into the next slide, which is how we also have the accessibility features involved with our kiosks as well, such as offering several languages. We ensure that they're built to be ADA compliant. There's also an option for it to, the screen, for example, if a user were to click on this wheelchair button, it actually shifts the screen down to the bottom 2/3 to make that accessible to them as well. And then additionally, we have some blind and low vision accessibility features there too. Cities also have the option to equip the kiosk with an optional emergency call system that offers that direct communication between the dispatcher and the user, and then optional security cameras as well within a DVR system, which maintains footage for a total of 5 days. And then there's a specific form that the local police personnel or even the Downtown Raleigh Alliance can request from us to receive that footage if there was something in the area that they needed to investigate further. And then lastly, one of our core tenets at IKE Smart City is to connect with the community. So we actually have a dedicated team who seeks development of partnerships with municipalities, educational institutions, artists, art institutions, essentially to help and sponsor their initiatives and events and feature content on the kiosks themselves. So with that, that's all I have today. But just want to say thank you again for spending the time to learn more about our digital kiosks that we proudly installed within downtown Raleigh. And like Mary mentioned, we have a total of now 16 in downtown Raleigh. So with that, I'll stop sharing my screen and can help answer any questions.
Yeah, thanks, Kara. And we're actually going to hold the questions till the end. So if you do have questions for Kara, just put a pin in it. We have the question and answer function, and we also have the chat. So we'll be monitoring both of those feeds. But thank you so much. It's really awesome. I'm sure you guys have seen the IKE kiosks being deployed downtown. So it's good to know more information about that. And now Tierra is going to help us understand how the Google Business Platform works so you can be optimizing that for your business.
All right, yes. So let me go ahead. It says the screen share is loading. Are y'all able to see the slides, Mary? Okay,
We can see it.
All righty. So I do want to go ahead and I know I'm going to skip over this introduction, but I do want to mention that formerly I was the North Carolina Google coach. We work with about 2,200 businesses in North Carolina, but now I am contracted as a small business digital trainer for Main Street America. So if you go through this presentation with me and you need a little help, maybe doing something, or maybe you have some verification issues, Main Street America does provide free one-on-ones. So any of the businesses that are represented up here, if you want to attend or if you want to send a staff member to attend a one-on-one session with me, we can do those virtually at no cost to you. So I have more information about that at the end. Today we are going to talk about the Google Business Profile, since this is where the IKE kiosks pull the information for the businesses from. We'll talk about what it is, how to create it. If you already have one, I'll try to go as fast as possible about the creation process, but I definitely want to spend time on how to manage the business information so that you can really get the most out of your Google profile. And I want to also mention that I have heard in previous classes that people say they get a lot of calls from Google and that there are fees associated with getting their business on Google. And I do like to let people know that Google never calls anyone. I had a contract with them for 3 years and they never called me. But Google does not call you personally. If you'd like to have your business put on Google, there is a process and you do it yourself. What has happened is other small businesses have found that business owners don't know how to get their business on Google. And so they do cold calls and they offer to put the business on Google for you, but they are not officially representing any kind of Google affiliation. So I just like to throw that out there. And so this is the anatomy of a Google Business Profile. Most of us have seen them. The goal of the Google Business Profile is really to connect locals to local businesses. So Etsy shops or Amazon-based businesses are actually not eligible for a Google Business Profile. You either have to have a physical location or a service area. If we're on this call, I'm sure everyone has a physical location. If you look at the anatomy of the business profile, it shows your name, any photos or videos you add. It does have the quick links for them to be able to call or get directions, share with a friend, or visit your website. And then you'll see the location, hours, phone number listed there. And this is just a quick fact about the Google business profiles. Over 18 million businesses have been able to put their business on Google and get phone calls, bookings, reviews, and directions requested. Alrighty, and here are some additional stats. I have a very long PowerPoint and I am trying to get it all in a short period of time. I will let you know that the Google Business Profile, not only is it going to be able to connect you with the IKE Kiosk, but it also will be available for any consumer that is searching on Google, whether they're on a desktop, laptop, mobile device, iPad, or etc. So now we'll just talk about setting it up. You would first start by just going to google.com/business, and you see the blue button that says Manage Now. You'd click there. And if you'd like to add yourself directly on the map, you can do that as well by going to maps.google.com. And there's 3 different options that are listed on this page that you'd be able to add your business directly to the maps. I do like to mention that if you just go the google.com/business route, it will create your business profile as well as add you to the Google Maps. But they're just giving you several ways to make sure that you create a Google business profile. You do need to have a Google account in order to set up the Google business profile and manage it. We all know you can easily go to accounts.google.com and you can sign up for a free account. And then they'll ask you to type in your business name. If once you type in your business name and you see it pop up, just know that if you did not add the business name, someone may have tried to leave your business a review and you didn't have a profile. So Google asked questions to that customer and created the Google profile based on what the customer put in so that they could leave the review. If you see that your name drops down, you can click on it and you'll be prompted to claim your business. So there might be a profile already created on your behalf that no one has actually said, hey, I own this business, so I'll be editing it. So you do need to claim it. If it does not appear, then you would just move forward with entering a category of your business and moving forward with next steps. It will get your physical location information. For home-based businesses, it also gives you the option to say, no, I don't have a physical location, but we have a service area. But I think everyone on this call would have a physical location to add here. You'd enter that address and click next. If you do have a service area outside of the downtown Raleigh area, so maybe you service downtown Raleigh, but you also service Durham and some surrounding areas, you can add those service areas so it'll show your physical location, but it'll also show additional areas you serve. If your company does a lot of out-of-state business, I would say not to add additional states as service areas, because since the goal of Google Business Profile is to connect local businesses, you'll end up getting your Google profile flagged and suspended until Google figures out why you say, you're serving 2 states. So to keep that from happening, if you do serve another state, just make a Google Business Profile in that specific state. You'll be prompted to add your contact information. You do have to have a number. So if you do not have a dedicated business phone number, I do recommend tools such as Google Voice as an option, as well as Good Call, which is a newer option that instead of just getting a business phone number, you also get a virtual AI assistant that you can program to answer questions and take messages, as well as transfer calls to your personal cell. But you do have to have a business number in order to create the business profile. The website is not required. I highly recommend a website. If you don't have a website, there are also some free options like Google Sites to create a free website. But you also have the option to just select that you don't have a website at this time. You then will be prompted to choose your verification method. I will say if they offer you phone call or text, those are the quickest ways to get verified. The more common way is the postcard. Most people get offered the postcard. The video, if you are in a location that has been several different businesses over the years, so it's been a high turnover and they all have created Google profiles, then Google does require a video. That gets a little bit more complicated. But if you are having to verify your account via video, please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. And then for home-based businesses, if you only have a service area for the mailing address to verify your business, you can use your home address. They do not make this information public. It is just so that they can verify that you own the business. It does take up to 14 days for the account to be verified, but you are able to edit the Google Business profile while you're waiting for verification. If you're already verified, then hopefully you schedule time, maybe weekly or every other week, to take time to update your Google Business profile. So what I'll do now is kind of show you how to access it and then how to update. The easiest way to access the dashboard to make any changes to your Google Business profile is just by going to google.com and typing in your business name. As long as you're logged in to the Google account that manages the profile, you'll get this dashboard so that you can edit. You'll also see the dots that are in the right-hand corner that show you all the Google apps. You can click there and also check My Business, and it'll bring you to this dashboard as well. But again, the easiest is just going to Google and typing in your business name. And then on your dashboard, these are all of the different categories that we can, and we'll break down each of these, but we can change all of these things. Of course, under edit profile, those are the basics. So that is where you change your business name, your business category. This is where you update your description. They do now have a built-in AI tool to help people with their descriptions. Your description should be very heavy on SEO so that Google knows exactly what services and products you're offering. Your location, your hours, and then additional information. You'll find that under the More section, there's the option to add the attributes. So you do have some people who maybe they want to go and support a veteran-owned business. Well, unless your branding says all throughout your messaging that you are a veteran-owned business, Google doesn't know that you're a veteran-owned business. So now they give you the option to select that you're a veteran-owned business. So if someone goes to Google and puts in veteran-owned ice cream shop, well, you're a veteran-owned ice cream shop, and now Google will show them your profile. And then these are all of the other options that you have as far as attributes. For most people in here, you do have a brick and mortar. And so Pointy is a free tool that you are able to use to add your products directly to your Google Business profile. So it will connect with your POS. If you already have a POS system in place that has your inventory, you can connect that directly, or there is an option to manually add your products through Pointy. But this allows people to be able to shop your products directly from your Google Business profile. You'll also be prompted to add photos. We definitely want people to be able to see the business. We know we live in a post-COVID time where if someone finds you on Google, they want to see where they're going. So they're going to look at your pictures. So adding pictures, having your logo visible. You can also add videos. They are limited to about 30 seconds. And then you can also add a cover photo. You will get a copy of this PowerPoint presentation. And on this slide, you'll see there are some tips for taking some good photos for your profile. We'll send that over to you. This is one of my favorite pieces of the Google Business Profile because it's so underused. Google has the option for us to add updates. And with the updates, we can repurpose social media content. So you'll see under this update, there's a graphic and then there's information about the heat wave. A lot of times we feel like if we're posting on Instagram or Facebook, we're reaching the people who need the information. However, not everyone is on social media. And with the kiosk, people are able to see your updates directly on your Google Business profile. So if you are just, saying, hey, we have a new manager and you've posted this new manager on Facebook, you can now do an update and brag about your new manager directly on Google. You can also add special offers. So I personally like to put special offers on my Google business profile that I don't promote elsewhere. That way I can see how many people are finding me on Google and actually coming to see me or booking an appointment based on this special offer that is only available on Google. You can also promote other offers that you have. The holiday season is coming up, Small Business Saturday is coming up, and you can utilize your Google business profile to promote any specials or sales you're having. They do ask you for an end date, and you don't have to worry about going in to make sure that you take that offer off when it expires because Google will automatically remove it on that end date. And then lastly, the event category, being able to list the events that your business is hosting. If you're having a sip and paint, if you're having an open mic night, instead of you just putting it on Eventbrite or on your social media, we can now put it directly on Google. So if someone is using the IKE and they, are looking for a coffee house and they see that you have a coffee house and they click and now they can see what events are going on at your coffee house directly off of your Google business profile. You'll also see on the dashboard, it allows you to read your reviews, and then there's a message feature and a Q&A. With the reviews, we just recommend responding to all of those reviews, whether they're positive or negative. We're all kind of trained to respond to the negative things and the negative feedback, but we also want to train ourselves to acknowledge those positive reviews as well. With messaging, if you turn on the messaging option, if someone has a question that they need asked right now and they don't want to press the call button to call you, they can actually send you a message and Google will notify you that you've received a message and you can respond in real time. So in essence, it's kind of like being able to text with these customers without texting. And then lastly, the section with the Q&A, I do recommend looking at your Q&A section often because the Q&A is open. So I can go and ask a question, but if Mary has the answer or thinks she has the answer on behalf of the company, she can answer my question. And so we do have customers that probably can answer everyone's questions correctly, but then there are sometimes that they might get it wrong. And so you do want to be able to keep your eye on that so that if something is answered incorrectly, you can go ahead and clarify it. Again, you will get this PowerPoint presentation, but we have some tips for managing your reviews. There is also on your dashboard a button that allows you to ask for reviews. So you can share your link directly via email, WhatsApp, or Facebook. But what I like to recommend for brick and mortar businesses is to go to ask for reviews and copy your link and make a QR code. And that way you can print that QR code off or put it in a nice graphic and print it and put it in a frame and just have it around your brick and mortar. So that way you're not having to constantly, after each customer, remind them that you want a Google review because we can have it visible and they can just easily take a picture of the QR code and be brought directly to your Google profile to leave a review. Again, we talked about the messages. Some additional tips can be found here. You are able to run a performance report. So the performance report is very basic information only about the Google business profile. So how many total interactions you had, how many times someone called, how many messages you received, how many times someone clicked for directions. On the overview page, if you scroll all the way down, and unfortunately, because this is a picture, I can't, if we scroll all the way down, it will show you the terms that were typed in Google to bring up your Google business profile. And a lot of business owners found that helpful because now they can see whether or not the keywords that they're using throughout their content matches the words that people associate them with. If you do have someone on staff or on your team who will be managing the business profile on your behalf, but you created it, you can go to your business profile settings and it will allow you to add a manager. It'll give them editing permissions. You can also transfer ownership. You can update your notifications here. If you have another business and you'd like to create a business profile for that, you can do it directly through your settings. And then you have your help and support. I will say if you have any verification verification issues, or if your Google business profile ever gets removed, we would go to the business profile settings to get your profile ID number, and there are reinstatement forms that can be found under help and support. So next steps, if you have not already created your business profile, now is the time to do so. If you find your name on Google, your business is there, but you have not claimed that profile, please go ahead and do so. If you are creating a new business profile, be sure to verify it as well as update it, and update your business profile often. Make it a habit of reviewing and updating the information. The holidays are coming up, so making sure that your holiday hours are updated on Google. Adding the different business information, the photos, the videos, repurposing that social media content directly on your Google profile, and then monitoring your performance, because that information can really help you to make some insightful decisions. When it comes to marketing, I do business development, but I know a lot of people who are starting businesses don't go to Google and type in business development. So it's very insightful to go down and see what people have actually typed in to find my company, since the term is never business development that they're using. I did also want to share some additional resources. If you go to g.co/marketing kit, as long as you have a Google business profile, it will make you custom posters as well as social media posts. If you go under attributes and you have selected that you're a woman-owned business, you'll be able to get posters that have your business name up top and says proudly woman-owned. But it also will make social media posts out of your reviews if you already have reviews on the profile. And then if you had any additional questions, or you wanted to have maybe a deeper dive or look more into the different categories on the business profile, there is a Grow with Google YouTube channel. It's updated every Thursday, so there's always new videos, and they deep dive into different Google tools and using Google Analytics, Google Search Console, Google Trends, as well as the Google Business Profile. And then, of course, they threw in some information about the Google Career Certificates. Those are free, and if you have employees and maybe you want to offer them some professional development opportunities, definitely consider the Google Career Certificates. And then there is some additional online tools that are available for teachers, students, business owners, of course, job seekers and developers, and that's google.com/grow. And that is my presentation. I got through all of it. And I'm
Awesome.
open if anyone has any questions.
Fantastic. Well, Kara, do you want to pop back on video and then we'll go through some of the questions? I see one question that's popped through already. If you do have questions for Kara or Tierra, if you could please put that in the question and answer or the chat box, that would be great. I do see one already, so we'll start this one. They indicated, I think this is probably more for you, Tierra, that they tried to add photos into their Google profile and it says it wasn't approved or verified, and they were wondering what they could do as a next step.
So the only reason that a picture wouldn't get approved is if it violated the community guidelines. So I would definitely need to see the picture, but also double check, because before, when you add pictures, it isn't automatically approved. It takes a little bit, maybe 2 days at the most, but you'll see that it's pending. So if after 2 days it's still pending, or if it just says that it wasn't approved, again, we do have forms that we can submit. So if you feel like this picture does not violate any community guidelines, this represents my business, we can go through and do a form through the help and support under the settings of the business profile.
Do we have any other questions coming through? Kara, could you share how far of a radius the IKE kiosks pull from for the Google listing profiles?
Yeah, we, our kiosks have that set to a 2-mile radius, specifically to each of those kiosks. So a 2-mile radius around the kiosk that is in use.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Another question that came through asked, how often does the IKE scan or pull updated Google info?
That is a great question. I believe it through the API process. I think that's pretty automatic, but I'll definitely double check with my software team if there's like a specific cadence to that. And I don't know if Tierra, you would know like through API practices, if like there is a certain timeline, but I always thought it was pretty instant.
Yeah, I know that once you're verified, your profile is live. And usually, like I said, verification process can take up to 14 days.
Right.
But if they offer you email or phone call, it is instant. I love when they offer people phone calls.
So yeah, I would say it's pretty instant, but Mary, I'll follow up with you all. I don't know if there's a way we can maybe like follow up with the group
Mhm.
to if there
Yep.
is any other answer that I come to find, but I'm pretty sure it's instant.
For sure. All right, and another question was wondering how they could show up higher on the Google search list when typing in like Raleigh Art Gallery, for instance, under their specific genre.
Okay. And so I will say if and I don't know why it wasn't on the PowerPoint, but on the dashboard of your Google Business profile, it allows you to click edit services or edit products. Make sure that you fill that out completely. That is one thing that'll help because if you have art showings or if you provide space for local artist gatherings or whatever those keywords are, you can have all of those listed as services and products so that when people are Googling, they're typing in gallery, but maybe they're looking for something specifically. And another thing that'll help you is if you go to Google Trends, if you use Google Trends, you can type in art gallery, and then we can filter it down to North Carolina and really see as it relates to Raleigh, what are people typing in when they type in art gallery so that because SEO is really one of the major things that you can do free before you start spending money on Google Ads. So I would just want to make sure that we had the products and services listed, that we were heavy on the SEO with our description, as well as, adding updates, repurposing that social media content, those deals. One thing about those is it's up to 1,500 characters. So you can get a lot of keywords in there, but it's just making yourself competitive and making sure that we are owning the most real estate on Google. They call everything that comes up on the search page real estate because you have the sponsored ads, you have the organic results, and then you have the Google Business Profile. So we can go ahead and get the Google Business Profile, but to make sure that we're organically showing up, there's just some SEO things that we can do. I did mention we can do a one-on-one. So if you want to schedule time for us to look at your current Google Business Profile and I provide you with suggestions, as well as just looking at the Google Trends together, as well as Google Search Console. I know I'm throwing out so many names, but if y'all have not used Google Trends and Google Search Console, it'll definitely help. They're both free tools. But Google Search Console also gives you more insight into how people are finding you on Google and the performance reports. I mean, they're so insightful, and you can make really good business decisions when you have the data to kind of back it up.
We'll definitely share a link for that for y'all afterwards so that if you are interested in that one-on-one session, you can take advantage of that. Thanks for mentioning that. We have a question here, kind of curious about the IKE integration. So this is a business that has a Google page and they just want to make sure that they are on the IKE kiosks. Kara, could you speak to that process for how that happens and
So
to ensure that that is connected?
So on the back end, like we have a fully like staffed software team. And so when it comes to how like once basically a kiosk goes live, the like suite of applications are already uploaded. And so basically, depending on the type of business, we have basically anything from Google API pulling into those specific categories, right as the kiosk were to be energized. So like, for example, if it's a restaurant, like our Google API setup will basically be pulling in, again, any restaurants within 2-mile radius of that kiosk. And then it usually, I think, is sorted based on proximity. So like if it's right next to the kiosk, it's like likely going to be the one to show up first. So if you're a little bit farther away, you might have to scroll a little bit, but that doesn't mean you won't show up because there's also filters that can then pull in your listing a little bit higher. And then two, you can also specifically search for a business to make sure it's on there, or even if that's just where you want to go and you want directions. So basically, again, once we kind of do the implementation and installation, those things are already pretty much uploaded on there. And then again, it's just kind of sorted based upon how far it is from that kiosk.
Okay, thanks. So if they have a Google listing profile, business profile, it will be integrated into the IKE kiosk. And it's based on proximity to the kiosk, the order.
Right. So I think as long as it's tagged appropriately, if it's a restaurant, et cetera, basically it'll pull in accordingly to those categories.
Okay. That's a good question too. And just to emphasize that is to, based on what Tierra had shared, to make sure that your business is listed in the correct category. That is, we have seen that sometimes things are categorized incorrectly, and that's something to follow up on internally.
Absolutely.
All right, another question that came through was wondering if there's any tips for getting retail shop locations to show up above a cafe or coffee shop, for instance, in the shopping category.
Is that for me?
I think it could be either, and it might piggyback a little bit off of making sure that they have their categorization set up on your Google listing in a way that informs that. But Kara, I think this does speak a little bit more to the IKE categorization.
Yeah, and do you mind just saying it one more time so I know the categories in which they were asking?
For sure. So this is wondering about getting a retail shop location to show up above a cafe or coffee shop, for instance, in a shopping category, specifically on the IKE kiosk.
Okay, so with that, when it comes to retail and like a coffee shop, for example, those would be in separate categories on the kiosk. So any sort of restaurants or coffee shop are going to fall in the eat and drink application, where we also have a like shopping application for stores in particular. So they wouldn't necessarily be within the same bucket. There is another category such as activities, but again, I don't believe that would showcase necessarily like a restaurant versus a store, since we have a dedicated category for it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And this person was wondering if there's a map that shows all the kiosks that are in downtown now that we have them all fully launched. I think that's definitely
we'd be happy to share that. I don't know if you would want to send that out, or if you want me to share my screen, I could always populate something.
Yeah, either or. I think we'll definitely be updating for folks who are downtown Raleigh businesses. We have an IKE kiosk web page, and we'll definitely update that with all the resources as the final kiosks come online.
Yeah, I think that'll be the best tool. I just want to make sure we're showing the most up-to-date map. So I'll follow up with you, Mary, and then we can make sure that resource is established so we can show where all the units are live now.
That sounds great.
Perfect.
All right, another question. Would your business be able to show up in two categories? For example, if it was a bar and retail portion of their business and they had more than one, business model, a bar and a retail portion, would that be able to show up in two different categories?
I believe so. I think again, it really is going to depend upon how it's categorized in Google Business. So just making sure that again, you're categorizing it appropriately. And I think then it can technically show up in both.
Tierra, do you know that from the Google standpoint? Do you have to pick one category for a business?
No, you don't. You can actually, so they give you separate categories. They tell you when you're setting it up, you select one, but you can always add additional categories. So when you go to edit profile where it says categories, you can select an additional category. If that person wants to drop in their business name, I'll Google them and see how it's showing up currently.
So you can add your business name if you'd like into the Q&A or as a direct chat to Tierra, and she can check that for you. Or it's the Raleigh Wine Shop if you're able to look that up. But it does sound like there's the capability to set that up.
Yeah, we can add separate categories if we need to.
And we have seen that before too. It's a business that kind of fits into both categories. If it's specific to one, then it would be just in that one.
Okay, great. These are great questions. Do we have any additional questions that are lingering out there?
I just want to, sorry. I was just going to say, I think they would probably be showing up in both categories because they're currently listed as a wine store. So we'll probably show up under the eat and drink, but also the retail because it has the store piece. So good category choice.
Absolutely. That sounds great. Well, as a next step, we'll continue to monitor the Q&A here in case any come in, but we will definitely be sharing out resources with folks as a follow-up here, so that you have this going forward to consult. I think there was a lot of good tactical information in Tierra's presentation where you might want to go back and fine tune your Google business profile to enhance things on the back end. And those one-on-one consultations as well, if you wanted to dig in a little bit more, especially as the holiday season approaches. Any additional questions? Otherwise, thank you so much to everybody for joining us today. And thank you so much to Kira and to Tierra for your expertise. It was really wonderful to hear from you both.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. All right. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Y'all have a good